Welcome everybody to the energy tips for week number 5, our last week in January, 26th of January till 1st of February 2020. We will be talking about authenticity in this energy tip, and those of you who've been to the energetic tune-up session already got the first taste of what it is that we are up against here with these new energies coming in for February. This all comes in waves. It has no significance really what date it is, but we feel better if we can have a little bit of a preview. Many of you, I noticed, watch the energy tips sort of after the week is done, and I actually think that's a good way to focus more on the review of things and what have I learned and how did I grow through things, rather than following this ego notion that if I know what happens in the future, I'm more secure. So when it comes to harnessing, these energies that are currently surrounding us here, not even looking at the collective aspects of it, but what is happening here within our own lives, these endings that we are perceiving, these new beginnings that are coming in, but the feeling sort of in limbo in between, all right? We are automatically being pulled or triggered into something that is not determined by the outside. It has something to do with how we experience ourselves, how we see ourselves. And so this whole week, I want to call this authenticity training, really, is providing us with a multitude of experiences that can help us to weed through some of the aspects here that are coming in very strongly, emotionally, feeling inadequate, feeling left out, feeling left behind, perhaps even feeling replaced. And, how we can counteract this with our own energetic awareness and the truth training that you guys have been doing here with me for all these years. Now, last week was a very interesting week. It almost felt like this train that we have jumped on came to a sudden stop, and there was some kind of stuckness that determined the way we've experienced this last week. This could have happened maybe through unexpected experiences or through something actually falling apart, or you actually experiencing some kind of loss. But what really determined this last week, judging here by all the Heart Warrior and energy coaching sessions that I had all week, was this feeling of really, really doubting your own identity and needing to get this impulse how to find yourself in all of this. And many of you know this is a big part of truth training, is to go within and to slow down a bit and take a breather, take a moment to actually feel within. So most of us know already that this is the way to go. But then there is so much that is happening on the outside right now that discerning truth is no longer just a matter of meditating things away, or getting our emotions into check, or stopping our critical inner voice. It's bigger now. And the way I perceive this, guys, and I don't know if this resonates with you, but the way I perceived this last week is that there was a very, very strong download from our true self. I call this true self moments. And I'm suspecting that this is going to continue to happen here for this next week. So you will have a really strong moment of sudden awareness, okay, that right now all that matters is what you as an authentic self experience and how you want to contextualize this. So the stuckness that we have is really just an inner conflict, of all these different versions of self that we are struggling with, that we are trying to juggle. All right, the past self that is often based on some kind of insecurity, some kind of trauma, some kind of inadequacy, some kind of self-worth issue, there's the reason probably why many of you are seeking to improve yourself in the first place. And then some idealized future version of yourself, where you sort of try to dream your reality into a certain projection of yourself, how you think you need to be. And this is, guys, where you get stuck. This is the part here that is being neutralized through this alignment that you have, this truth alignment. You will get stuck at exactly those things, in exactly those areas of your life where you have not been really acting or thinking or understanding yourself as a true self. And this is actually a good news for us, because it means that where we get stuck has directions, has sort of instructions built in, namely as in this is a dead end. So all these dead ends that you are running into right now, guys, they will all help you to find higher levels of authenticity. But first we have to develop a stronger sense for this inner heart navigator that I always talk about, this bullshit detector that we have, all right? And unfortunately, this, when you truly awaken to that, you realize how much manipulation, how much of all this sort of augmented or virtual reality that we just talked about in this Sunday Truth Talk, all right, how all this is distracting you. So we're coming back to the same aspect here that I've been talking about for years, and that is that you need to slow down. You need to take this moment of consciously reclaiming what your reality is and who you are. And it feels for the ego part in us that is so conditioned to function and to be productive and to create outcomes, it feels a bit like a depression. But I want you guys to understand that if you go low here, low as in, you feel sort of like a reset in you, this does not mean that your energy is low. What it means is that you are just exploring the gap. You're exploring this momentary state of in-betweenness, all right? And this doesn't mean that you are stuck. It just means that you are shifting gears, all right? And you all know what happens with your car. If you force gears or if you don't control the gears, eventually it'll sort of burn out your engine. And that's what a lot of you guys are experiencing right now, is this burnout feeling, all right? And so the tool here, or the energy that you need to align to, is to bring all these pieces back together, all the things that have sort of come to a sudden halt, that are now sort of splattered right in front of you as individual fragments. They all need to be brought together. They all need to sort of be unified, as we say, in your heart again, all right? And the best way to do this is to stop thinking that improving or functioning or being productive has to be done the hard way, that it has to come with more work or harder or trying more or whatever it is that you think you are doing, that you are not doing enough of it, all right? You got to let that go, because that is what creates the struggle. And the big shift that is happening here right now is that we need to learn, okay, that which we strive for, fulfillment, happiness, joy, healing, abundance, all right, that these are, not just higher vibratory goals, but that they are based on a whole different understanding and paradigm of how this works. All right, so you got to remember that all these old beliefs, these old things that you've been conditioned with, including who you are, that they are no longer valid. And that is the tricky part with authenticity, because you don't quite know yet really what it is that you are growing into. It's a quantum leap, really. You're really shifting the universes in which you exist. And because most of us still exist primarily in an ego reality, which is fine, all right, and we can choose that. It's our own volition, all right, how we adjust to all of this. But because we still find ourselves in this conflict between our 3D-ness and our soulfulness, all right, we have to explore this space within. So something that I've been telling you guys for a couple of weeks now is to explore new things a different way, even if it's just one thing a day that you change. Challenge your ego every day. Get into the habit of letting go, of getting yourself, your ego self, out of the way by training yourself, all right, to see the world more like a playground and yourself in it more like a co-creator, and experimenting and trying new things. Then, it's not a matter of succeeding anymore or right or wrong, but a matter of recognizing that this process, the pathway to becoming your authentic self and then ultimately living, your life in truth and in union with the 3D-ness and the soulness of you, all right, to unify all this and to integrate all this. This is then what leads to embodiment. So the energies here of this next week bring new insights. These downloads are insights. That's how they come to you. You just might not be able to know exactly how to translate this into 3D. But these insights have to do with you recognizing that growth and improvement, that all this comes through the process of trying, through the process of experiencing, and not eradicating flaws or fighting against the negative, or seeing the world as scarce, all right, and that you have to hurry up. Okay, all these are ego notions that tie you to your inauthentic self, the one that you have been conditioned with. The interesting part here of this week or this time right now is that, and this can only be seen really on an energetic level. And thanks to those of you, by the way, who are in the Soul Self Daily Alignment sessions, this is a huge revelation for me, that if I do this kind of readout, okay, while you guys are aligning, I'm actually getting a very detailed picture of these collective energies and how they translate within all of us, all right, since I understand all of us as being connected. So I hope you guys have a cool experience with this, just like how I am. I'm truly enjoying this. So building the habit of checking in with your soul self every day at a certain time is, even for someone like me who works this every day, a huge improvement in my own consciousness and my own self-awareness and authenticity. All right, so understand that higher learning, that this spiritual learning and spiritual awakening is not hard, and authenticity is just a tiny little part, but it is not based on an outcome. It is based on actively engaging, actively participating in the process. Oh, and the interesting part here about this week is that there is a replicated fractal. Okay, so this is just my way of saying this, that zooms us back to like roughly a year and a half ago. So like right around July 2018, there was a subject that was brought up into your life that you were triggered to look at and to deal with, and then it sort of went through several stages, and you might have forgotten about it, or might not be aware of it, but this is coming back to you now. So I call these occurrences time capsules, or rocks in time. So there are certain things that need to happen, and I cannot foresee them, but I can tell you that what you are going through right now is actually a process that started exactly a year and a half ago. So if you want to dive a little deeper into the meaning of things, of these dead ends or the stuckness that you are experiencing right now, then go back to summer 2018, and maybe you have a journal or something, and reflect on this a little bit. This is coming back. Continued here, for us in this whole sort of collective situation, is the subject of learning how to integrate, learning how to unify, learning how to merge, learning how to co-create and collaborate. And on our individual level, that plays out as this merging of inner masculine and feminine energy. Is a huge topic right now. It always is. It's a collective topic, but right now we can actually really experience this in our life. And I can only encourage you, when it comes to body work, or when it comes to really tuning into these aspects of how you approach your life, whether it's more of a masculine, a goal-oriented, fact-oriented and outcome-oriented approach, or more like a nurturing and patience and allowing the unfolding. So the chakras affected here this next week are primarily our first chakra again. That is our right to be here, our sense of self, our identity on a very core level. Fourth chakra, really the emergence of us understanding that there is more to this, and the way we experience ourselves, the way we contextualize our life, and why we are here, how this can actually help with letting go of all our fears, letting go of all our struggles. And then the seventh chakra, the strong sort of higher consciousness input that is coming in here very, very strongly. So I'm expecting you guys to have lots of dreams, lots of activity, etheric activity within yourself, be it through feeling lots of energetic sensations and having lots of new insights coming in that point at your heart, that point at the unification and balancing of on all these different layers of inner masculine, feminine, ego versus true self, false identity versus authenticity, and so forth. This is all here now presented to us with the task to unify this within and no longer see this as two separate things. Now, in the collective, the way I'm expecting this to play out is, and we can see this right now in the media, a lot of the shows and even the sort of current political real-time drama is all about standing your ground and claiming who you are and explaining and rationalizing why you do things, okay? And meanwhile, there's so many greater things that are happening behind the doors. And I want to, with the truth talk today, I wanted to redirect your attention a little bit towards these things that are happening behind closed doors, namely how this is all sort of being planned out, all right? And you'll have this feeling of manipulation with this at first, but then you realize the power that can come through you understanding the larger context, namely that all that is going on here in this world right now on a collective level is nothing but a big war of attention and perception. And all we really need to do here as awakened souls is to rediscover that we are all connected. So if we are all paying attention to our inner reality and to, training our own perception, our own bullshit detectors, and so forth, well, then we experience a new level of connectivity with others, one that is based on truth, one that is based on love. There's nothing to hide. There is nothing to protect. There is no competition really in that. And that is what helps us to collectively move out of our third chakra. But right now, there is this sort of the pinnacle of that struggle still going on. And the earth is going to respond to this. So I'm expecting some maybe earthquakes or like outbreaks of that. So all this struggle and friction that is going on collectively will also show in the planet, because the planet in its consciousness is also connected with us. physically, the main problem I think that we can expect here this next week is this burnout sensation, this exhaustion on all levels, like trying to succeed, trying to function. And this then leads to an occurrence of more systemic issues, issues of our immune system, issues of our lymphatic system, issues with our overall well-being, not so much the skeletal issues that we had in the last 3-4 weeks where it was all about resistance. This is now more about how to release all these toxins, these things that we've been absorbing. So you might be experiencing issues with your digestive, but especially your urinary tract. So kidney, bladder issues. To drink lots of water, guys. Maybe some, some juices that can help you. Cranberry juice is really good for this. I don't think you really need to go into like full-on detox. I think it's more the way this feels to me is that it's more systemic, that you really want to support your own system a little more and love it more. So probably the best tip I can give you for physical recovery here in this next week is body love. All right, love your body. Okay, get yourselves a different skincare product. Try different ways. Try new things with your body that feel good for you. Not in the sense of just that make you look better or something, but that really feel good for you, to tune into this authentic body feeling again. Emotionally, I've mentioned this before, this burnout can lead us to believe that we are not functioning well, that it can really trigger this inadequate sort of past self that we've identified with, and the fear and the anxiety that comes with this. So yes, it is scary, when you get put into a situation where you have to stand your ground. But there is also a life after that, and this is, what I have communicated with a lot of you heart warriors this last week. Calm yourself down, coach yourself through this, breathe through this, learn how to communicate so that you can express, how you are truly feeling about things, and tell yourself that you're gonna survive this. All right, you're not gonna die from this confrontation that is happening in your life. You just have to learn how to tap into what it is that you truly want and how to get this out, how to express this, your needs and your wants, and to regain this trust in your true self. Okay, so these true self moments that I mentioned earlier, they're there to remind us. So it's a big part here of remembrance. Okay, because what happens to us when we go into our insecure self, all right, is that we begin to withhold, we begin to hide, we begin to protect, and that goes against the overall or collective notion to unify and to mend. All right, so catch these moments when you withhold, when you hide, when you avoid, when you protect, because this is what basically disables your ability to connect. All right, and then so sends you on this downward spiral. Mentally, a lot of what is going on right now, the dead ends and the old things falling away, it does not really come with the task for you to immediately change anything other than trying new things. So right now, the theme is more about understanding that this is about changing your conditions of manifestation, all right? Changing the way you approach things. Of course, you can contemplate about how you grew from this and what you've learned from this, but this will not actually lead you to fulfillment. This just leads you to thinking about things more. Understand that, learning can happen through stillness, through integration, through beingness, all right? And so the big thing that you're being asked to do here in this next week is to actually allow your approach and your mindset to shift about what it is that you want to change, all right? Socially, this is a difficult time for relationships, guys. I'll be honest with you. There's a lot of stress in relationships right now because the individuals, they come to these dead ends. And so this can immediately lead to like an all or nothing attitude towards the relationship. Some of you will discover manipulation, coercion, and things were done behind your back, and it's time for you to come to this no nonsense place. If your bullshit detector goes on and you discover that this has all been just an illusion, what are you waiting for? Have you had enough? Now move on, okay? But don't expect yourself to immediately needing to replace that what you're letting go, all right? Because you need this integration and this recovery time, and sometimes also a little bit of grieving and letting go, be it a job or a relationship, to understand that it is not whether or not you are in a relationship, but what that defines you as this authentic self, all right, in your relationships, and maybe sort of refocus on how to become a better partner rather than trying to find a better partner. Okay. Now, spiritually, this is a wonderful time right now. I keep on saying this has never been easier to be spiritual, because right now it's really all about recognizing that there is more to us, and everybody is even marketing and so forth. The technology is going with it, except for that they're trying to hijack that into thinking that you need certain things in order to gain a higher consciousness or higher spiritual awareness. Even the craze about plant medicines and needing to do things, that open up your awareness. Guys, those are all dead ends, all right? So when you have that truth detector on, all right, you can feel the bullshit in this, all right? So you don't need anything. Yes, you need to learn how to use these inner tools, and how to manage your energy better, and how to like stay in the present moment awareness, and you need to practice this, and you need to explore this. But this is a really playful thing, all right? This is something that improves your whole entire well-being on all levels. And spirituality, is the part of that gives the whole thing context. So if you contextualize your spirituality again with some kind of goal-oriented or result-oriented thinking, or that you have to be better at this, or conquer this, or master this, or become enlightened this, or whatever, you're steering towards another dead end. Okay, this is really going within and understanding that spirituality, or this awakened soul self in you, is not something that you've invented now. Okay, this is something that was always there. It is something that brought you here. Okay, and the mission that you came here with is basically to embody this in 3D, to embody truth and love and light into 3D. And yes, the no nonsense spiritual truth out there is love can mend it all. Love can heal it all. Just not the kind of love that you've been conditioned with. It's a different kind of love. One that makes you understand what unconditionality truly means. One that makes you understand how correction and evolution truly works, namely through trying. So the big shift here that is happening in spirituality is that we need to get out of this thinking our way into spirituality, and really understanding that embodiment means experiencing your own spirituality and experiencing your own authentic soul self, really. And then energetically, we do have a few things that we need to learn, just like how we need to learn a language to communicate, and how we need to learn how to move and act and so forth. So energetically, we need to understand that, in order to up our vibes, all right, we don't need to fight against the lower vibes, okay? We don't need to fight against negativity. We need to increase our container. We need to embrace and invoke, all right, that which we want to come in. And we need to understand how resonance works, namely that it will pull in the two things that are like-minded, two energies that are like, that they will go and merge and join together and create something greater. So stop thinking about all the things that you need to eradicate in your life or that you need to get better at. All right. The energetic truth of all of this that is coming to your awareness here now is that it's really just about this one single choice, namely, am I going to see this as negative or am I going to see this as positive? This is my personal preference, okay? But if you have an inner truth detector, all right, then it will tell you exactly what is good for you and what makes you happy. And this is my invitation here for you for this next week, is to literally go back to the essentials of energy work and explore what makes you happy. Very, very simple. This is what this new paradigm of being really means. What fulfills you is what is good for you, okay? Not what gives you illusions or different versions of yourself, or what makes you function better, or what makes you become superior. No, what fulfills you. When you are in this moment of total inner stillness and inner peace with what it is that you're doing and who you are, and you just really enjoy creation itself. So yeah, that was a lot of difficult subjects here, and you saw me struggle with bringing this out correctly. So this will also be part here or for the challenge here in this next week, to find the right way of expressing things. And I don't know yet what the right way of expressing all these things is, but through your support and through your interest and through your willingness and courage, I get the opportunity to practice this every day. So it's not about being perfect, it's not about being effective, it's about experiencing it through doing it and through embodying it. I hope that you have a good week and that you might actually get the impulse to understand that reinventing yourself is really more a letting go of all the other identities, all these other versions of self that you have adopted over time, and that when it comes to your authentic self, all right, trust in your true self, because it really guides you there right now. So enjoy this process, and I see you next week. Bye-bye.